I know you've been waiting and looking for our day 22 recap of the Sean Diddy Combs trial. Here it is. We'll be breaking it up for yesterday's recap. And then, of course, later today, you will get your day 23 recap of the Sean Diddy Combs trial. However, yesterday was interesting because it was the 6th day that Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Jane, was on the stand, leading me to believe that prosecutor Kirsten Brown was correct, that Kathy Ventura, who was up there much shorter time, was not really their star witness. Some might say, if this is the star witness, is Diddy going to walk free? But one of the standout moments from yesterday's testimony was the fact that Diddy was so upset with Jane because she attended a freak-off party of another well-known rapper. Who could it be? This is our day 22 recap of the Diddy trial, exclusively here on the Kempire channel.
Here we go now.
Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. Don't forget, you can also listen to our Diddy updates exclusively on the Kempire podcast. While you're there, don't forget to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And if you were around yesterday and you want a break from the Diddy of it all, be sure to check out our Real Housewives of Miami recap. I just saw the ratings for Real Housewives of Miami. Not so great, but I also blame Bravo, the network, for not really promoting the season premiere. But if you need a little bit of a break from the Diddy of it all, and maybe you're not familiar that we talk about a variety of things here, you can hear the Kempire podcast version on Apple and Spotify in regards to Real Housewives of Miami. But you can also watch it here on YouTube. To get our administrative stuff out of the way, also a reminder, don't forget the Kempire After Dark, the villain era. Hold on. Is coming to Philadelphia on July 10th. Then we will be in Atlanta on August 5th, DC on August 22nd, then back here in New York City on September 12th. So if you want a night of hot topics like Diddy or Real Housewives or anything else that might be going on at that particular time, get your tickets today. All that information will be available in the description. So I'm just going to give you a quick synopsis. Normally, especially because of the amount of coverage that we're going to be doing today when it comes to Diddy, normally I would go back to Inner City Press and read some of the dialogue. But today I'm just going to give you a quick summary of yesterday. This was her final day, Jane's final day on the stand. Reminder to our comment section and the live chat, please do not speculate. When I say speculate, it's not just guessing names. Speculate means, oh, the connection to it's very obvious in regards to who this might be, but the court is really cracking down on media outlets that are doxing this individual that is an alleged victim that would like to remain anonymous. Okay. One of the other things that I heard yesterday in regards to the freak off of this other well-known rapper, the judge decided that we're not going to name that rapper in the court because if anything, it doesn't do anything for the case. It just opens this particular rapper up to harassment. So a reminder for those that are just getting their Diddy updates from me and you have no idea what's been going on, our friends over at NBC News remind us of what was to come on day 22. They said former girlfriend of Combs, identified by the pseudonym Jane, will return to the stand for the 6th time. 6. Yesterday, Combs' defense team said that they would be done with cross-examination in the morning. Prosecutors told U.S. District Judge Aaron Subramanian that the government would rest its case no later than a week from Friday and perhaps as early as Wednesday next week. And word on the street, I don't know if it looks like, based on what we know of who's about to testify, if Christina Curran, aka Diddy's KK and chief of staff, is not going to testify. I have not seen anything, but again, the prosecution has been keeping their witnesses under seal and just unsealing it little by little to the press. Of course, Diddy's team already knows whether or not KK is going to testify. I don't know how the KK gets out of not testifying, but here we are. One of the prosecutors, Maureen Comey, also said the government is condensing its case and will soon inform the court and defense which witnesses will be removed from earlier plans. Yesterday, meaning Wednesday, prosecutors sought to remove one of the jurors. Remember, we talked about this. Juror number 6, who Combs' defense lawyers claim is among the panel's black members, it's not exactly clear what's behind the prosecution's request, though it has cited a lack of candor. And I implore you, if you missed our day 21 breakdown, go back and watch that, because we break down in legal terms. I'm not a lawyer, but we looked it up. In legal terms, what they mean or possibly could mean by lack of candor. Based off of context clues, based on the actual definition of these words, they're concerned that there is something about this particular juror that they were not transparent about. There's something there that they feel that might affect their case from the prosecution side. So I don't know what that could be. I don't know if they lied about something when they were being interviewed to be a juror, or there is a connection between the juror and Diddy. I don't know. So in a quote, they said, "We were very reluctant to put in this letter. It appeared to be a lack of candor with the court that raises serious issues with us," Maureen Comey, one of the prosecutors, said yesterday. "She did not want to do this. We were compelled to do that." Jane testified, as you know, for the 5th day on the stand on Wednesday in a forceful cross-examination. Combs' lawyers sought to recast freak-offs as consensual trysts, citing times when Jane texted Combs that she was having fun, and in an instance when she initiated hotel nights. "Yes, that was my suggestion. Combs was excited about that," Jane said in court. At one point, she broke down in tears as the loving messages between her and Combs were read in court. I resent him for how much I love. I resent him, sorry. I resent him for how much I loved him and couldn't say no to him, she testified. She also testified that she was upset Combs spent time with rapper Young Miami and Turks and Caicos. Seeing photos of them together was a, quote, painful experience, especially given how she had tried to satisfy him with hotel nights. And look, there comes a conversation in regards to whether or not Young Miami had been treated in a similar way and maybe a victim as well. Or maybe he treated her differently because when she got into a relationship with him, she already was an established artist. She already had a name for herself. But being with Diddy, did it elevate her career in a lot of ways? It did. So they said Combs is back in court this morning wearing the same orange sweater and khaki pants from yesterday. Oh, he's not going to like that because he's so focused on his image. Diddy's focused on the wrong things. We did a report this week talking about how he was talking to one of the media outlets and saying, "I know you." Then telling one of the sketch artists, ease up on how she's making him look because she's got him looking like a koala bear. I'm shocked that he's coming into court wearing the same thing from the day before. Is it the same thing? Possibly. Could it just be similar colors? Possibly. When he walked into the courtroom, he hugged members of his defense team. The government wants to bar or limit the number of text messages that Combs sent to Jane in late 2023 and 2024, saying that he knew he was in legal jeopardy in wake of the Cassie Ventura lawsuit. That makes sense. So they basically want, because first of all, if you remember our coverage of day 21, then you saw that they kept on going through old text messages, the defense, to show the consensuality of the relationship, the love relationship between Diddy and Jane. But what the prosecution is saying here, in my summation, is that in 2023, he got sued by Cassie. Cassie exposed his mentality, exposed his abuses. So anything that he says from that point on, he's basically covering himself. Combs wanted to make self-serving statements that hotel nights and freak-offs were completely consensual events, as preemptive legal strikes, AUSA Maureen Comey said. The defense has attacked Jane up and down by trying to show that she agreed to these sex acts, using these Combs messages as alleged proof, Comey said. U.S. District Judge Aaron Subramanian appears to be leaning towards prosecutors, ruling against the introduction of at least one allegedly self-serving Combs voicemail. The judge said both sets of lawyer and an attorney for Jane left the courtroom to discuss, away from the jurors' ears, her upcoming testimony. Jane took the witness stand following this lengthy closed-door delay to hash out ground rules of her ongoing cross-examination. To be a fly on the wall, because they've been having sidebars in the court, and what we learned from other journalists is when they have these sidebars, they play this sort of white noise, I guess, in order to take away from people hearing what they're talking about. And if you watch any of these legal shows, you know it gets hot and heated behind the scenes in the judge's chambers. Defense attorney Mark Agnifilo, without revealing the specific nature of his side's disagreement with Judge Subramanian's evidentiary ruling, said he fears Combs could be denied his rights to a totally public trial. They're setting us up for the appeal. That's the way that I feel. Again, once we talk to an attorney, we can ask these questions, but that's the way that it feels. That's the way it's been felt in regards to how Diddy's defense has been handling this. In very cryptic arguments, Agnifilo appeared to say his side needs to delve deeper into an event that only Combs and Jane were party to, and thus the defense wants others to corroborate. In equally cryptic words, Comey argued that getting into more detail would be needless. Anyone who has witnessed these events can come forward. The suggestion that they need to say the names to get information from the public is nothing more than a pretense to intimidate the witness. And honestly, that wouldn't shock me that Diddy is instructing his attorneys, not listening to their legal advice. But this sounds like it's coming from Diddy, because remember, Diddy has been detained because prosecutors believe that he would taint this case, would reach out to witnesses, would taint the jury pool. It wouldn't shock me that he's telling them this is what he wants, and this is what he wants his lawyers to argue for him. The defense is going back, or it could literally be his defense team's suggestion that this is what they want. It could be that too. But it sounds like their maneuvering is very similar to something that he would do or want. The defense is going back to messages Jane sent Combs in October 2023, where she wrote to him that she was, quote, processing some sort of trauma and needed time to herself. She wrote that she wanted to please Combs, though deep down she wanted the night to end. Combs' attorney, Tenny Garagos, pointed to another message and asked Jane to confirm that she wrote she knew she was consenting verbally. Garagos also pointed to the fact that Jane wrote Combs never knew she was uncomfortable. Jane confirmed that she did send those messages. The other thing that I will keep reminding you guys, because we're trying to give you a very open perspective on what's happening here, we have to keep in mind, although I do believe the fact that Jane has been on the stand longer than Cassie, and that could be for logistical reasons, that Cassie was only up there for 4 days. She was pregnant, very pregnant, about to give birth. She literally gave birth, I think, within that week. And that could have been the reason why, because remember, that was a battle with the defense. They wanted to keep Cassie up there longer over the weekend, but the prosecutors and the judge agreed that no, we need to get her testimony over with. So could she have been up there a lot longer? Yes. The other argument in regards to why Jane is up there longer than Cassie, not necessarily because she's a star witness, but she is a corroborating witness when it comes to what Cassie went through. But she's not just a corroborating witness to what Cassie went through. She's a most recent witness. She literally, her lifestyle is still being paid by Diddy. Her lawyer is being paid by Diddy. And she was still with Diddy up until he was arrested. They said that Combs' attorney, Tenny Garagos, pointed to another message and asked Jane to confirm that she wrote that she knew that she was consenting verbally. Garagos also pointed to the fact that Jane wrote Combs never knew that she was uncomfortable. Jane confirmed that she did send those messages. The defense played a voicemail that Combs left for the witness, appearing to show that the music mogul was sympathetic to her feelings after Ventura's bombshell lawsuit. Combs said that he hoped that they could mend their relationship, in a quote, so that you can move on with your life, so that you don't feel like I wasted your life, according to the message. He asked Jane, what will make you feel better? We also have to remember, I always say this too, we have to remember, based on what we've seen of Diddy, and when I say seen, both before this case, but during this case, he's a master manipulator. No matter what side, whether or not you feel like the government is proving their case, I don't think we can deny that this man is manipulative, that this man is an abuser, that this man knows what he's doing when talking to these women. So, an S worker whose name has come up often in this trial, Anton, was known to have a relationship with another rapper and his wife, Jane said on the stand. So, this was one of the big bombshell moments that came out yesterday during testimony. So, there was another known rapper that Jane was privy to and attended one of his, I guess, freak offs where people were watching this, one of these S workers, Anton, have sex with a woman in front of them. So both Jane and Combs had known in early 2024 that Anton was a part of a quote relationship with this other unnamed artist, the witness said in cross-examination by defense lawyer Tenny Garagos. The witness finally recalled Combs throwing her a birthday celebration that felt like prom in March of last year. The party in Miami included a 5-course dinner and music, as Jane called it, really sweet. The celebration was so moving, Jane said, that she was okay with hooking up with S worker Don at Combs' direction due to his generosity with the party. There were a number of positive changes in Combs after Cassie Ventura filed her lawsuit in November of 2023, alleging he abused her, according to Jane. Under cross-examination, Jane confirmed to Combs' defense attorney that she felt closer to Combs after the suit was filed. She affirmed that the characterizations that she felt much more love from Combs after the suit, whereas before he was often cold and egotistical. But again, was that strategic? Because of what was said in this lawsuit from Cassie. And don't forget, Jane said that after it came out, she said to him, it feels like I'm reading my own sexual trauma. So now he's like, oh gosh. And he just paid Cassie $20 million. The last thing that he wants to do is, first of all, be in the same situation where she'll come out publicly and confirm this stuff, or that she's going to end up suing him and he's going to pay another how many millions of in a settlement. So I can see him strategically being more lovey-dovey to her because he sees that she falls for it every time. Attorney Tenny Garagos asked Jane to confirm that Combs became more apologetic, a better listener, and that he spent more quality time with her in that time. So the defense is taking the approach, see, but he was so nice to you after the whole Cassie of it all. But for me, I'm taking it, and you guys will let me know in the comment section or in the live chat, I'm taking that as he's trying to cover his tracks. How long would that have lasted? Jane agreed that Combs had done all the things and that she felt that she could assert herself more in 2024 than she had in the relationship previously. Defense attorney Tenny Garagos revisited a physical fight between Jane and Combs at her residence in Los Angeles in 2024, which Jane described to the court under her direct testimony, which we've talked about before if you missed it. Jane testified that the drawn-out violent incident began when she pushed, we're going to emphasize she pushed Combs' head into a marble countertop. She said that the incident was sparked by her feelings of anger over a suspicion that he was on a family trip in Turks and Caicos with another woman. So that's also the defense's, and look, I don't know if it's necessarily a defense. It's very clear that Jane was very jealous of the relationships that Diddy was having with other women, specifically Young Miami. Garagos is revisiting detail of the fight, including what Jane said and did. She asked about Jane throwing a candle and glass before locking herself in a bedroom. During her direct testimony, Jane said that she locked herself in a closet where she changed clothes. She alleged that Combs began his own assaults on her in the hallway after she exited the closet, and that she ran away and hid behind a wall outside for 2 hours. They end up taking a break. The jury's filed out. Okay, so I read this because sometimes it's administrative stuff that might be necessary for us to understand what's going on in the court. So the judge asked prosecutors, Combs' legal team, and a lawyer for Jane to meet with him behind closed doors. So another meeting. Okay. This day of testimony got off to a late start with lawyers debating the scope of questioning for this witness. So that's one thing I did notice yesterday, was the fact that they had started late. And now we know why. It's because they had a battle, both the prosecution and the defense, on how they would handle cross-examination of Jane. And it was critical because this would be Jane's last day on the stand. And no matter how you feel about Jane and her credibility, being cross-examined, being questioned, reliving, because no matter, I don't think we're debating whether or not, whether or not you believe that she deserved this relationship, she chose this relationship, whether or not you believe that, we can clearly see that this was an unhealthy, toxic relationship. And to have to revisit that, no matter if she chose to be in that relationship and now has chosen to be out of that relationship, it was a toxic thing. And now she had to relive that and then be cross-examined and made into, oh, you are not a victim. You are actually the enemy here, and treated that way on the stand. Court is back in session after lunch, and Jane has returned to the witness stand. Headphones have been given to the jury, indicating some upcoming evidence that may be played is not for the public's consumption. They did release some audio in regards to what Diddy left a lot of voice notes, and in one of those voice notes, he gave her the nickname Crack Pipe. Yeah, we talked a little bit about that during our day 21 recap. I can't even tell you like Wednesday's recap. I have to go by the days of court. Combs' defense team went into an argument between Jane and Combs over her being in Vegas with another rapper. So this is where they talk about this other rapper and his own freak off. So there have been speculation on whether or not other celebrities would be named. We've already told you at the very beginning in our coverage of this trial, the judge has said that he does not want this trial to turn into some sort of gossipy, salacious trial. It's definitely taken a turn on some days, but I think that's just inevitable because of the nature of what we're talking about. But a lot of people have said there have been rumors that there have been all conspiracy theories about these freak-offs being something that other people attended, and it wasn't just Diddy and his girlfriends and an S worker. And I said, buckle up, because I don't think we've heard everything yet. And literally yesterday we find out, oh no, this is a common thing that's happening amongst these other rappers or other people in the industry, not even just rappers. And this is, for me, was a bombshell moment that, oh, so there was something very similar to what people have been speculating on for a while now, that there are these parties where other people have attended and they're watching people be intimate. And if you came to our Los Angeles Kempire After Dark show, this is why I say you need to come to a show, because I'm good at keeping the secrets of what people share during these shows. In our LA show, people told us, and I don't know if it's true or not, I'm going to say alleged stories of attending a freak off, and they gave details. We're not going to talk about it here. This is why you got to come to a Kempire After Dark show. But for those that came to the LA show, you can confirm in the live chat, not the details of what we heard, but yes, we did hear about two different people that don't know each other tell stories about a freak off. And this is why I was waiting, because I think we need to wait before we say that there were no freak offs, that there weren't groups of people attending. So Combs' defense went into an argument between Jane and Combs over being in Vegas with another rapper, which led to an instance of sexual voyeurism. Jane testified earlier yesterday that she was in Las Vegas with another rapper and his wife, who had a relationship with the same worker whom Combs and Jane often employed. She said a group of people watched the S worker, Anton, have sex with a woman in a hotel room during that trip. Tenny Garagos, Combs' attorney, questioned her about the disagreement that she had with Combs over the matter, with Combs apparently upset that Jane attended another man's, quote, freak off. The defense seemed to emphasize that Jane left the argument unharmed. They want to paint the picture like, see, he wasn't that bad. Yes, you guys had your consensual arguments. I mean, he was very jealous about what you did, but he didn't do anything. It wasn't that big of a deal. I see what they're doing here. I don't know how relevant or how important this particular story was to Diddy's case, or if it harms him in any way. I don't think so. I think it's just a salacious moment that just ends up happening in trial. Combs apologized to Jane after she saw pictures of him appearing to be on vacation to Wyoming with another woman. In a text exchange introduced during Jane's cross-examination, Combs wrote, I just want to be friends, and that he's sorry for any time I hurt you. The defendant was having problems with the headset, leading him. Wait, hold on. So the defendant was having problems with the headset, leading him to first try to try the listening device of defense lawyer Brian Steele. And when that didn't appear to work, Combs shared a headset with Agnifilo, both of them leaning in to hear one side of the headphone pair. Oh God. Our budget situation is causing troubles over there. They were listening to audio evidence only being shared with the witness, jurors, the judge, lawyers, and Combs. And I wonder why, because they've played audio before in court. I wonder why maybe celebrity names are mentioned or identifying information about Jane is shared in there, because the court is really trying their best to keep her anonymous. So during a break, Combs grabbed a handful of tissues and dabbed an eye before walking out of the courtroom. It wasn't immediately clear if the defendant was briefly overcome by the courtroom drama or a natural irritant. When we say natural irritant, look, allergy season, and everyone is affected by different days on allergies. Like the other day, I woke up and I was having like this big allergy attack. Mind you, I've gotten allergy shots. I'm literally just got off of allergy shots. Y'all don't care about my medical history, whatever. I'm just giving you relational information. But there was one particular day where my allergies were kicking up. So maybe something in the air, or maybe he was overcome by emotion. I don't know. I don't know if has emotions. They literally titled this Combs in Tears, Emotions or Allergies. Federal prosecutor Maureen Comey took issue with the defense cross-examination of Jane, which has been led by attorney Tenny Garagos. She told the judge that the crux of Garagos' cross was the implication that Jane tried to tailor her testimony to please prosecutors. Comey pointed out that there were 4 incidents in which Garagos tried to shade Jane's testimony, imply that she was lying about being coerced by Combs. The judge denied the admission of evidence for the defense, but it's unclear what the evidence was, as the court was filled with another opaque conversation. It appears that Combs' attorneys wanted to show the court something that they believed would show Jane colored her testimony after reading Cassie Ventura's lawsuit. The judge didn't seem to agree with Combs' attorneys on its relevance, saying that another person's lawsuit would not constitute an improper motive for testifying. And I can see where some people will start to argue like, okay, judge, are you making the right decision? Why are we not including evidence that might show that Jane's credibility is not the best? Again, it's hard for the public to make that decision when we don't know what the evidence is. But again, this leads to speculation to the public, like, oh, they're trying to get another black man. I have to say, the judge, for me, from what I've seen so far in our coverage of this, I really have seen him be, for me, I think he is truly trying to represent the court and not be on the side of the prosecution or on the side of the defense. I think he really is trying to be as fair as possible. And we have to remember, he's a judge, and he's a judge for a reason. He is an attorney, and he understands what his job is to do here. But again, this would be a question that I would ask other attorneys. And again, attorneys across the board are going to have a difference of opinion of how this case is going. Jane could be reaching the end of her time on the witness stand as Comey started the government's redirect examination. Jane reiterated how much Combs pushed her for hotel nights, even after telling him she didn't want to do it. She said, all the time. It did seem like he wanted these freak-offs all the time. No matter if she decided to consensually participate, there does come a part in this where, okay, I can participate in this once in a while, but it seemed as if he would guilt trip her and set her up in regards to making these things happen, and then manipulate her into like, oh, but you know how much I like this. And anyone that's been in a marriage probably could talk to this as well. Anytime your partner says, yeah, I don't feel like doing that tonight, that's their right. And if you go against that right, that is SA. That is grape. The constant need to have sex for Combs' entertainment made Jane sore, tired, exhausted, and overwhelmed, the witness said. I felt like a whore. I'm not a trained actress, Jane said during redirect testimony. What do you expect from a woman after 24 hours of drugs and nonstop performance? That's what I'm saying. Like, this is not just us having consensual sex and it's an hour. 24 hours, 3 days of this and drugs, multiple different types. Prosecutor Maureen Comey asked Jane whether she wanted to remember every one of her hotel nights with Combs. Jane wishes she could forget them, she told the court. There was another emotional moment of testimony from Jane as she explained her jealousy of other women in Combs' life, crying as she described the pressure to perform for him. Jane told the court that she felt that it was unfair that other women in Combs' life appeared to get more from their relationships with him than she was, despite the pressure she felt to sleep with other men during hotel nights. She brought up the nights with Combs because she was frustrated at being forced to compromise herself and the treatment she got from him, she testified. Because when you think about it, people like Young Miami were on his arm during red carpets, and literally the Met Gala, one of the biggest nights in entertainment, walking the red carpet with him. And normally, Young Miami probably would have never walked that red carpet without Sean Diddy Combs, if we're going to be honest. The witness said that she objected to Combs' need for her to perform sex acts with other men, but she felt that she was obligated to perform. Once Combs started paying her rent in 2023, Jane said, I felt I had to do hotel nights to maintain emotional stability. When prosecutor Comey asked if Combs ever threatened to stop paying rent if she didn't want to perform hotel nights, Jane said multiple times. And here's the thing. You don't have to necessarily say, I'm not going to pay your rent in order to threaten not to pay your rent. If he's paying her rent and then saying, well, maybe we should just be friends. Yeah, you can get back to doing your Instagram, social media. Yeah, maybe we should just be friends. That could be a way of saying, yeah, I'm not going to pay for your lifestyle anymore. You can go back to doing that. I'm not saying that's what he said, but there are multiple ways of insinuating. And she's saying he's actually said it, but I'm just saying there are other ways that you can insinuate, manipulate someone to believe like, yeah, you can go back to that lifestyle. And if you've seen Diddy, Making of the Band is a case study on his mentality and his manipulation. And for those of us that grew up watching that show, we're all like, yeah, I believe he's a good manipulator. And I can imagine some of the things that he said. The witness said that she's not getting paid and has no choice but to testify. When Comey inquired if she's receiving any monetary compensation, she said no. And when asked her motive to take the stand, Jane said, because I was subpoenaed. Earlier in the day, the defense had argued Jane's testimony was tainted because she could, in theory, make money on a civil action against Combs. But it should be noted that she has not filed a lawsuit against Diddy. Will she? I'm assuming that she probably is going to. I wouldn't be surprised. But what works out for the prosecution here is that she has not filed a lawsuit right now. But this is the defense's defense that in the future, you could literally file a civil suit and make money off of Combs. Yeah. Defense attorney Tenny Geragos returned to question Jane once again, asking her about a prior question she had been asked about if she was willing to give up everything to stop doing hotel nights. Geragos asked Jane if she was willing to give up her home, which she lives in with her child and was paid for by Combs currently. Jane responded that it was a hard question for her. The defense attorney then pointed to Jane's financial capabilities, including $150,000 Combs had wired her over their relationship, and that sometimes $50,000 a month she received from her OnlyFans content. Jane's marathon testimony finally came to an end yesterday, with her leaving the witness stand after answering a prosecutor's question about the violence she endured. She says, he slapped me and punched me. That's going to round out our recap. I mean, this is a much shorter recap. You know, what we've been doing is covering this on a daily basis. I wanted to still stay on track when it comes to our coverage of this Diddy case. We didn't read any of the back and forth testimony. What we've been doing here, and some of you say this is the only way that you can consume this Diddy trial, is the summaries that we've been doing. Thank you all for all of the lovely comments. Those have really kept me motivated to keep doing this on a daily basis, but I have been, in which I am going to implore other content creators and those of you that are watching and engaging in this content on a daily basis, because a lot of people are, even if you're just a viewer of it, to take that time to take those breaks. So that's why I prioritized yesterday going to see Purpose on Broadway. For those that haven't seen it, this is the play that just won Best Play at the Tony Awards and Best Featured Actress from the Tony Awards. It was phenomenal. It's funny, it's dynamic, it's political, it talks about colorism. There's just so many conversations that are being had. It's also directed by Felicia Rashad. And it's phenomenal. It's so good that I'm ready to go watch it again because there's so many little nuggets. And not just that, it's a great play, and it's leaving Broadway, I think August 30th or August 31st. So if you are in New York City, will be in New York City, go see Purpose on Broadway. It was so good yesterday. But I say that because I prioritized doing something fun and taking a break from the Diddy of it all yesterday to do that. So take a break this weekend, do what you need to do, and I will see you guys in day 23's recap of the Sean Diddy Combs trial, which I will be uploading later today. Do me a favor, don't forget to like this video. It's an easy and free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. Thank you to everyone that sends in super chats, Venmos, Cash Apps to help us support doing what we do over here, because our Diddy videos, they do fairly well, but we also are talking about very hard topics that sometimes limit these videos. So we don't make a lot off of these videos. And a lot of times when these videos are limited, those videos do not make it out to the larger public in regards to what we're covering. I know a lot of you think everybody knows who I am. No, we have a lot of people that are discovering who we are here in our community. If you're new here, let us know in the live chat. Let us know in the comment section. We want to know all the newbies that are are finding our channel because of this Diddy trial. Don't forget, you will also be able to hear a Diddy trial update on the Kempire podcast. While you're there, don't forget to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. We also uploaded for our Club Kempire Baddies, our Apple Podcast paid subscription on the podcast. We did do a review of the BET Awards, so be sure to check that out. And I will see you guys on tour. Don't forget, the Kempire After Dark, a live tour is coming to Philly first, July 10th, Atlanta August 5th, DC August 22nd. Then I'll be in New York City on September 12th. These shows are hot topics, comedy, fun, tea being spilled. You never know what we are going to find out at these shows. As I mentioned, what we found out in the LA show about freak-offs. So you just never know what tea is going to be spilled at these shows. And you have an opportunity to meet and greet with me at all the shows. The New York City show has a live stream option. So if you're in another part of the country or the world, you can also be a part of the New York City show in September. Ticket information will be available in the description. Thank you to our King Scars. Thank you to our channel members. Thank you to our subscribers and new subscribers. Let us know if you're new here. As always, I appreciate you guys for watching and, of course, for listening. Here we go now.